The year was 1932. The Pacific shimmered beneath a cloudless sky as the RMS Olympia pulled into the port of Los Angeles. Among the disembarking passengers, one figure stood apart, not for his stature, which was modest, nor for his clothing, which was impeccably tailored but unassuming. It was the precision of his movements, the quiet authority in his gaze, and the unmistakable silhouette of his waxed mustaches that marked him. Hercule Poirot, Belgium's most meticulous detective, stepped onto the gangway with a small valise in hand and a larger mystery awaiting him. The heat struck him first, dry, golden, and relentless. He paused, adjusting his bowler hat and surveying the city that sprawled beyond the docks. Los Angeles, he thought, was a place of contradictions. Palm trees and power lines. Movie stars and migrant workers. A city built on dreams and haunted by secrets. He had not come for leisure. A telegram had summoned him across the ocean, signed by Jasper Van Dyke, a name that carried weight in Hollywood's golden circles. Van Dyke was a film producer of mythic reputation, known for lavish sets, scandalous premieres, and a temper that could curdle champagne. The message had been brief but urgent. A jewel has vanished. A film is in peril. The police are blind. I require your eyes, Monsieur Poirot. Poirot had accepted not out of vanity but curiosity. A diamond stolen from a film set was unusual. That it belonged to an Indian Maharaja and had been loaned as a publicity stunt made it stranger still. And that Van Dyke had bypassed the LAPD to summon a foreign detective. That was the strangest detail of all. A black Packard awaited him at the dock, driven by a young man in a studio uniform. "Mr. Van Dyke sends his regards," the driver said, opening the door. Poirot settled into the leather seat, his eyes scanning the city as they drove. Billboards loomed overhead. Cleopatra's Curse, The Scarlet Mirage, The Girl from Galveston. The faces of starlets smiled down with painted perfection. Beneath them, the streets pulsed with life. Vendors hawking oranges, children chasing shadows, men in fedoras arguing over scripts and cigars. Poirot remained silent, absorbing it all. They arrived at the studio gates, an ornate archway flanked by sphinxes, a nod to Van Dyke's latest epic. Inside, the lot was a maze of sound stages, prop warehouses, and costumed actors milling between scenes. The illusion was total. Egypt had been rebuilt in California, and it smelled faintly of grease paint and ambition. Van Dyke greeted Poirot in his office, a cavernous room lined with film reels and velvet drapes. He was tall, silver-haired, and theatrical in every gesture. "The diamond," Van Dyke began, "is called the Star of California. It was meant to be the crown jewel of Cleopatra's Curse. A real gem on a real queen in a film that will redefine cinema. But now," he gestured dramatically, "it is gone. Vanished. And with it my reputation." Poirot raised a brow. "And the police?" "Clueless," Van Dyke snapped. "They think it's an inside job. I think it's sabotage. The Maharaja is furious. The press is circling. And if I don't recover that diamond, the film dies before it's born." Poirot nodded slowly. "Then let us begin, monsieur. Show me the scene of the crime." Poirot walked the set of Cleopatra's Curse with deliberate steps, his eyes scanning every detail. Painted pyramids loomed against a canvas sky. A golden chariot stood parked beside a catering table. The illusion was complete, except for the tension that hung in the air like desert heat. Van Dyke led him to a soundstage where the cast had gathered. "They're nervous," he whispered. "They know the press is watching, and they know you're here." Poirot nodded. "Let us begin with introductions." Max Bennett, the director, greeted Poirot with theatrical flair. "A pleasure, monsieur. I've admired your work from afar. Though I must say Hollywood has its own mysteries, most of them unsolvable." He laughed, but his eyes were bloodshot and his fingers trembled slightly. Poirot noted the scent of gin beneath his cologne. Evelyn Hayes, the film's Cleopatra, was radiant in costume, Gold cuffs, coal-lined eyes, and a silk robe that shimmered with every movement. "I don't know why anyone would steal that diamond," she said, her voice trembling. "It's cursed, isn't it? That's what Lydia says." Tony Blake, the brooding Mark Antony, leaned against a pillar, arms crossed. "It's just a rock," he muttered. "People die for less." Lydia Gray, the screenwriter, stood apart. She wore a tailored suit and carried a leather-bound notebook. "The diamond was a distraction," she said coolly. "The real story is Cleopatra's power. Her downfall. Her myth." Poirot listened, absorbing tone and subtext. He asked questions, simple ones. Where were they when the theft occurred? Who had access to the jewel box? Who had quarreled with Evelyn recently? Answers came, but none satisfied. Poirot sensed fractures beneath the surface. Secrets. Rivalries. And something else, fear. He turned to the costume designer, a quiet woman named Margaret Vale, who hovered near the wardrobe racks. "I only dress them," she said softly. "I don't steal from them." Poirot smiled gently. "Sometimes, mademoiselle, it is the one who sees everything who is seen by no one." 3 days later, Evelyn Hayes was found dead. Her dressing room was locked from the inside. A glass of champagne sat on the vanity, half full. Her body lay slumped in the chair, her silk robe stained with vomit. The coroner confirmed poison, fast-acting, bitter, and deliberate. Hollywood erupted. Headlines screamed, "Starlet slain on set." Van Dyke was inconsolable. "She was the face of the film," he sobbed. "Without her, we're finished." Poirot remained calm. He examined the room. The mirror was slightly askew. Behind it, a scrap of paper, torn, smudged, but legible. A fragment of handwriting, LG. He questioned the cast again. Max Bennett admitted Evelyn had refused him a loan. "She said I was reckless," he muttered. She wasn't wrong. Tony Blake confessed Evelyn had threatened to expose his secret marriage. "She wanted leverage," he said. "She always did." Lydia Gray grew cold. "Evelyn played games," she said. "She thought she could rewrite the ending." Poirot returned to Margaret Vale. She described the diamond again, its brilliance, its flaw. "There was a chip," she said. "Tiny but real." Poirot's eyes narrowed. "But the diamond on set was flawless." Margaret froze. The premiere of Cleopatra's Curse was a spectacle. Limousines lined the boulevard. Flashbulbs popped like gunfire. The elite of Los Angeles gathered beneath the marquee. Poirot sat in the velvet shadows, watching not the screen but the crowd. He saw Margaret Vale slip away, unnoticed. He followed. Backstage, in the dim corridors behind the theater, he found her near a trunk. She turned, startled. "You replaced the diamond months ago," Poirot said. "The public theft was a distraction. Evelyn discovered the truth. And so you silenced her." Margaret trembled. "I didn't mean to kill her," she whispered. "I just wanted to leave. To be seen. To matter." Poirot produced the final proof, a train ticket to Paris purchased months in advance. Her escape plan. She collapsed. The diamond was recovered from her trunk. The press hailed Poirot as a hero. Van Dyke offered him a producer credit. Poirot declined. On the voyage home, Poirot stood at the rail, watching the ocean stretch into dusk. Hollywood had dazzled him, but not deceived him. "Murder," he murmured, "is like the cinema. There are stars, yes, but also shadows. And it is always in the shadows where the truth is waiting." He adjusted his tie, turned from the sea, and walked back into the quiet of his cabin, ready for the next illusion to unravel.